Tracking fire danger continuing into our early Thursday, plus the chance for Veterans Day rain and snow over the 3-day weekend. I'm Chief Meteorologist Monica Woods at ABC 10. Satellite and radar showing a very dry outlook here with the storm track well to the north of us. We've got a big ridge of high pressure. It's all part of the dynamics that actually brought us the gusty winds as that low departs. A couple of weather systems off the coast, and those are what we're going to be tracking into the 3-day weekend. It's going to change our forecast dramatically. You can catch those in-depth forecasts and explainers as we head into this wetter period of year, especially on ABC 10 Plus streaming app. That's on TV, live, local, always on. Download it anywhere you stream. All right, let's get to our weather impact alert that continues through tomorrow morning. Now, this is because of fire danger. We've got the gusty winds, lower humidity, and the risk continuing for rapidly spreading fires. So a red flag warning now extends into 7 o'clock Thursday morning, and that is true as well along the coast. What happened is we had those gusty winds overnight Tuesday into early Wednesday, really lowered the humidity, also dried out the fuel. So any little touch of wind right now can really spread a fire quite quickly. Here's a look at those future wind gusts, and as you can see, they are going to be decreasing as we head into the night and early tomorrow morning. But winds become less of an issue heading into our Thursday as we start to see the dynamics really shifting. We're under that ridge of high pressure, at least for Northern California. But for Southern California, we're going to stick with those winds leading to high fire danger. So a red flag warning continues through Southern California. All folks there needing to know evacuation routes, and really all throughout California. We're tracking that mountain fire right now. That one has been growing throughout the day, at times up to about 10,500 acres, but it's continuing to grow. We had evacuations, unfortunately, a couple of structures burned as well. So we'll be tracking that into Friday, when our red flag warning and particularly dangerous situation red flag warning will expire. That's the highest criteria that we have for those red flag warnings. As far as our future humidity locally, again, this is the main criteria that we're looking at this point for that red flag warning. We've got our humidity down to about 25 to 30% overnight. It doesn't come up until we get to Thursday morning. That's when we'll start to see the conditions ease ever so slightly with our fire danger. In terms of our fuel dryness, now the area that's been hardest hit is across the coast. So I just pulled these numbers for our energy release component, and that kind of tells us how quickly fires can spread. And here's the focus area right here and the timeline. So it did do pretty well with bringing down that fire danger when we had that rain coming in Friday into early Saturday. But now with the recent wind events, we had one on Sunday and again Tuesday into Wednesday. Now we start to see that fire danger moving up again into the potential category of a rapidly spreading fire. So again, we had the winds, we got the low humidity and the fuel dryness, everything kind of combining into that higher fire risk. Fire season so far, by the way, a little bit lower than our 5-year average. We've seen roughly about the same amount of fires, but dramatically different than what we certainly saw in 2023 and even 2022 when we had those really wet years coming through. So unfortunately, we did see some of that resurgence this year. Start of the rainy season for us this year has been a little bit of a slow start. We saw some pretty decent rain coming in for Halloween, at least early on, and then again Friday into early Saturday, which kind of kicked off the month of November, giving us roughly about a half an inch of rain so far. That nearly equals the amount that we got in May when we saw our last significant rain. So it was about 180 days that we went without measurable or significant rain in much of Northern California. Statewide precipitation as we've kicked off the beginning of the water year, which begins October 1st of this year. It'll run all the way through September 30th of next year. A little lean in terms of total precipitation, most of us running a deficit at this point. November usually is the month that we kind of start to see things turning around from the dryness to more of the rainy season. A drought monitor week to week. We saw things actually improve a little bit, but at this point in the year, we're not expecting much in the way of significant improvement. That would happen deeper into our December, January, February, when we see the wettest months of the year. Now, if we don't get that precipitation, then we start to see the drought monitor shift. In terms of our major reservoir supply, I haven't really gone over these in a while. And those reservoirs are getting pretty low, and it's managed. It's supposed to get low at this point in the season. All in all, though, we're still at or just slightly below average. But what water managers have to do is they have to prepare for the rainy season and the upcoming snowmelt for next year. So we need to have the capacity here for all of our reservoirs to hold that new water. As we move our way southward here, New Melones, Don Pedro, San Luis, all above average. Even Millerton, as we start to stretch a little bit more into Southern California, still at 97% of average, only 42% capacity. So if you look at it, looks really low. But when we consider what we normally see at this point in the season, things are looking okay. Just looking at one of the reservoirs, Folsom, preparing for the wet season, you can see our current line running very close to where we usually are in the teal shade right here. That's our normal. 2022-23 as well as 23-24, we saw those big wet years, so we nearly got to capacity. Water managers had a little bit more flexibility given that we had two back-to-back wet years. So it was nice to see those two back-to-back years. In terms of our future moisture, we are starting to see a change happen in the Pacific. This is a look at the water vapor and just that moisture plume that's coming in. That doesn't necessarily translate into how much rain we're going to get, but it's the available moisture that will be heading our way, which happens to hit us on Veterans Day. So there's a chance of showers, mountain snow, right around the low 60s. This is going to be a colder storm, which will bring that snow down below the mountain passes. So when we look at those weather changes, what do we have? Moderate to high confidence. It's going to be cooler temperatures, the chance for showers and snow on Sierra passes even a little bit below. Now, where the lower confidence comes in is when is the onset of the rain and snow and the rain and snow totals from the entire storm cycle. Good bit of news. Mount Rose opening Friday, November 8th. They have been doing grooming. They have been doing snowmaking, everything coming together to kick off this season at Mount Rose. So I know a lot of folks are kind of itching to get the skiing and snowboarding season started, and it looks like it'll get going just in time for the Veterans Day long weekend for a lot of folks that have Monday off. It's going to be cold, though, to start us off with the next work week. We'll get through the weekend with pretty average conditions, but this colder blast of air comes in on Monday. It actually sticks with us for the next several days after that as well. Our high pressure ridge that's been dominating our weather is going to actually move out of the forecast, and here comes a couple of lows. That's going to suppress that high pressure ridge and really give access to these weather systems coming in from the Pacific. The only one that I'm really seeing that has a good chance of bringing us rain is the one that comes in on Monday for Veterans Day. 8 to 14-day climate outlook, though, does show a likely cooler than average outlook as well as likely wetter heading into the middle of November. So we'll be tracking all of that again on our ABC 10 Plus streaming app. Our highs are in the 50s for tomorrow in the Sierra, 60s to near 70 down the hill. We'll see those winds start to back off along the coast. Highs will make it into the 70s. Now, you'll notice when we don't have the winds, those overnight lows plummet rather quickly. Winds keep that warmer air closer to the surface. At night, when we don't have them, clear skies, we've got the cooler air mass over us, and temperatures will be in the 30s to right around 40. Afternoon highs are warming nicely back to around 70. I'll look at our 5-day regional forecast, tracking the chance for rain and snow in the mountains by Veterans Day for the hills. It's going to be a rain event for us as well as along the coast. So pretty much all throughout Northern California, we're looking at that chance of rain and snow. Weather impact alert, at least the first one we have on this extended forecast, will end by the time we get to Thursday afternoon, and that is due to the higher fire danger. Now, moving into our 3-day weekend, starting it off dry, a mix of sun and clouds, highs in the 60s, which is pretty much right on par for this time of year. But then on Veterans Day, it's a cooler forecast and one that does include showers. Beyond that, we're drying things out again, but it is going to stay on the cooler side. In fact, by the following Saturday, looks like we could be seeing highs only around 60.